the early days of doing this, we had a lot of weird shit.
Can you review anything?
We didn't do it about 10 years ago. We had someone that was willing to pay 10 million. His brother wanted to give him a birthday present. He signed this up for, it was this experiential game company. He goes to bed. Next day he wakes up, like there's a car chase, people try to shoot him down.
He's in the thing already.
But he doesn't know he's in it. Like, this is real, I'm gonna die, this and that, right?
Yeah.
And then it finally ends with his brother falls through this, like, off the building. So he's sad, like, oh, I killed my brother and stuff like that. And they've actually let him down, and it's his birthday. What?
When I first met you at Amber Lounge, right? Oh my god, like I think you are like very, you gave me like a very good first impression.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because when I step in, right, I just felt like this, like, obviously it's like the expensive air, right? You go down there, it's like exclusive, and and everybody's just like, I'm better than you, that kind of vibe. But then the thing is, like, you are one of the, I think you're the only person that, hey, my name is,
Sure.
And then like literally, right, somebody just gave an intro about you, like, hey, this guy is like, wow, he just like, IPO his company or something, making it big. And then I'm like, okay, wow, that's like freaking amazing. And everybody's in our table, and then you came and talked to me first, and then I'm just like,
We were at the Diageo celebrity table, right? Or was it?
I was with the Adam Rose, at the side.
So we were at the corner,
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then I'm like, okay, wow. I got so many questions down there. Like, what was the initial concept that you created that you eventually IPO'd?
So, okay. I haven't IPO'd any companies yet, but I've started and sold previous companies before.
Wait, sorry, sold is not IPO.
Sold is not IPO. So acquisition is means you start a company, you grow the value, and then eventually someone sees the value, they buy it over, right? Then the goal is they will try to make more money off the company than you, right? So
that's sold.
Sold.
Not
yeah.
IPO.
IPO. So IPO means the shares that you have in the company, they will release it to public to then buy.
Okay.
So let's say I have 1 million shares in the company, right?
Yeah.
But let's say 500,000, 500,000 shares, I'll let the public buy it. Yeah. So it's no longer just the investment company, but it's public money that you are taking on, which is exciting because when enough public money comes on, your company can keep growing in size. So now the deal that I have, we are going after an IPO.
Wait, so okay, what does IPO stand for?
So IPO is initial public offering.
So is it like Kickstarter, but like more formal way of saying it?
Essentially, Kickstarter, you start a project and then you take external money to grow, right? So IPO in a fuzzy way is also like that, right? You obviously have grown the company to a certain value first, then external public find the value of investing in it. Because if they invest $5, example, for one share, the hope is this one share from $5 will go to $10. Then they would have made double their money, right? So that is the whole concept. So
can I say IPO is you sell to the public, sold a company is maybe sold to an individual?
Sure. Yeah. To like a VC fund or a hedge fund or another corporation.
Damn.
Whereas an IPO is more open to public one.
So what is the thing that you have created that has integrated into Amber Lounge?
Sure. So we'll take a little step back first.
Yeah.
My history has always been sort of in entertainment, right? So whether good, I started my career off as a photographer. I don't know whether you know that.
I know, actually, 2013 you win some award, right? Like a most recognized from New York City or something.
Yep. So I won quite the way I see it is I peaked quite early in life. Singaporean boy, when I was 19 after NS, almost a week after, I flew off to LA.
Whoa.
Didn't have any family there, didn't have any support. It really was, at that point in time, I already felt there was a ceiling in Singapore. And staying in Singapore, it was hard to bust out of it. So for me, it was more like, okay, I had this plan, I had this idea, a teacher that was formerly from the US. His name is Russell Wong. He does big photography and at some point he became like a mentor. So I spoke to him. He said, "Oh, I went to school in Art Center, Pasadena, College of Design. Do that. Then from there you springboard different things." So to me, 19, I didn't know any better, right? And I remember a conversation that I had with when I was in mass comms in Ngee Ann. So one of
Ooh,
the
neon.
questions was, if reality wasn't an issue, what is the furthest dream you could ever think about?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, back then it was even younger, right? It was like 16, 17. What was the biggest dream a 17-year-old could think about? So to me, at that point of time, I love movies. At that point, there was a lot of magazines. So a lot of your like celebrities, especially the US celebrities, became the furthest thing I could think about. Being friends with Tom Cruise. Wow, that is so far out of the realm of possibility, right? So I foolishly answered that was my goal.
Yeah.
And then through the years, that kind of seeded in. So to me, my passion for photography and celebrity, that was my first goal. It's like, how do I do that?
Right.
Didn't have a clue. So fuck it lah. Just went to LA, figured everything out.
Damn.
The beauty about going to school, it bought me some time because you need like visas and green cards and stuff like that, right? So that bought me, I think, 3 years. And then after college, you could stay on for another 12 months. So to me, I knew I had this 4 years, like die, figure shit out, right?
Yeah.
And during these 4 years, I just figured it out. So someone in advertising told me like, this the exact words, be a photo slut. Work with everyone, because my school was cross-disciplinary. We had car designers, advertising. These were people that were really top of their game, right? The school was fairly famous. So for me, I just made friends. I just worked everywhere. The beauty of it was, before, some of the kids that I worked with for their projects, I would shoot their projects for them, graduated and found jobs in bigger, big agencies. True enough, I was in my second year, not even graduated. I think it was like one more year to graduate. One of the friends that I shot with, he eventually went on to work with Ford.
Whoa.
Ford, right?
Yeah.
So even before I graduated, and because he didn't have any like photography friends, so when he was tasked with the project, he was tasked with relaunching the Ford GT project, GT40 project. So it was a vintage sports car that was big in the 40s and 50s. It stopped for a while, and around the 2000s they wanted to relaunch the project. So he was he wasn't heading the team because he was still fairly junior, but his job was to sort of find a photographer.
Yeah.
So the big name photographers, he didn't really know, right? He was like, hey Kevin, I have this thing. It's not we need a test shoot first and then we'll launch it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
damn.
A lot of it was so far outside my comfort zone, but it was also, you knew this was a good
Once
shot,
in a
right?
Lifetime.
Right? So that's what we did. So even before I graduated, I shot my first national campaign, which was launching the Ford GT40.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
And every step of the way, it was just nerve-wracking. Like, it was just like, you are stepping outside your comfort zone. Thankfully, I had a really good group of friends that all rallied up to help me. So, if it's like, many brains are better than one, right?
Yeah.
So for them, it's like, okay, how do we make sure everything is flawless? Because to them, it was exciting for them as well. It's like, wow, big first shoot. We shot it, we rented a big studio, and these were the days of like few $100,000 budgets.
Whoa.
Nowadays are slim. So even before graduating, getting this like 100,000 plus budget campaign was super exciting, right?
Crazy.
So I think that was, to me, the big break. And then suddenly after that, we launched it, and then Mercedes called me. Hey, we saw what you did for the
Wow.
Ford thing. So by the final year of school, I was already kind of shooting these like big campaigns.
Yeah.
And so thankfully that was the route, but my goal was still celebrity photography, right? Car photography was a passion. I love cars. But after I graduated, what happened was the world started going very digital. Traditional car photography got replaced by CGI, three-dimensional, wireframe and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They were able to churn things out a lot faster and cheaper than photography could.
Oh no.
So from shooting cars together with the backgrounds, eventually I was just asked to shoot the background plates. And then they would digitally enhance the car and just drop the car in.
Wow.
So after a while, I think that became my push to get out of it, right? Because, I didn't want to become a landscape photographer. I think I was still pretty young. So I think to me, it was just like, okay, you know what? what I wanted to do was celebrity photography. It's time to start.
Somehow you notice these things, like you can like kind of tell the signs when something is like a bit like expiring already.
Yeah.
And then
yeah,
you like
yeah.
you move forward.
yeah.
Like at 19 to move to US, like isn't that like quite scary? Like you don't even know what to expect.
Yeah.
Or you are quite like more like YOLO, free spirited kind.
A little bit of both. I think through my life, there's always been this weird guiding voice when whatever place I was at, if I knew I could do more, there was this thing that was like, no, just keep going, keep going, keep going, right? So even when I was sort of fairly successful, it was still that thought of, no, don't give up yet. Just keep going. You can do more, you can do more, you can do more, right?
Wow.
So that internal drive was really the thing that kept me going. Yeah. So, after sort of coming up pretty high in the car world and then having to restart again, that was one of the most difficult things as well.
Yeah.
Because, anytime you find some form of like fame or success,
There's a ceiling always.
and then starting back at zero, that is always the tricky part. Yeah. So the next transition was just starting back at zero and just hustling. And
I
no,
feel you so very much, man.
Yeah.
DJing in a local scene and then to now, okay, you know what? There's a ceiling. You need to change to like content creation.
Yeah.
And it's like you just start from zero, and it's like, oh.
but do you feel it's too saturated? How do you feel as a DJ?
Yeah, it is. It is super saturated. Like more and more DJs, fewer and fewer clubs.
Sure.
So sad. Not like overseas. Okay, actually, overseas is also quite jialat lah. Like UK, everybody in the UK is complaining, oh my god, all these clubs are shutting down. All the legendary places. Yeah. So
Even Germany, that famous Bergheim is closing down. You know that?
Really?
There's a famous.
Oh my God, I didn't know,
read in the
sia.
papers. I think it's starting to close down.
oh my
Yeah.
god. Then like that, it's hopeless already. Berghain is like literally the final fort, of clubbing.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's
Maybe
different.
Tomorrowland, maybe
No,
Ibiza.
but it's not very commercial as well. It's like very
Pure underground.
subcultural niche. Yeah. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
sector. There's always a sector that is high saturation, right? And very few people can discern. I think that's the part where I get a bit excited because then that gives you the creativity to figure out what's outside of it that people are looking for.
And most people see something like saturated, they will like avoid it. But for you, it's like you go inside with the how can I revolutionize it, that kind of
Yeah,
mindset.
yeah.
That's crazy.
So I think that's how I started my experience. So through the whole realm of celebrity photography,
yeah.
eventually celebrities became friends. A lot of the billionaire investors. I got into that world very early. So I think that was one of the key things because, hanging out with a celeb on screen versus in house, in a couch as you're chatting with them, the persona drops.
Yeah.
Right? There's no more cameras. They don't have to. Yeah. So I think I've learned that very early. And then when the investors, the money came, I sort of, because I was never as big as them, right? So most of the time I was just like, okay, let other people do the talking. I just noticed. So one of the things I noticed was just different people of different wealth level, how they behave, what they're looking for. So at that point in time, I never knew it was going to become useful, helpful, right?
Yeah.
But later on, as I started to design these experiences, that became really key.
Yeah.
Because when you design experiences, you need to understand what the different levels are looking for, what they can access, what is norm and what is special.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's, if I have any one superpower, that's been my superpower.
Identify what does extraordinary looks like.
Yeah.
I think also another very key point is that I feel like I'm personally very driven. I think you are extremely driven as well. And with very driven people comes the weakness of ego,
Sure.
We work so hard to get to where we are, right? And obviously we have some ego. But then the thing is like you live in the world of VIPs, That means like the ultra rich, the ultra good looking, ultra, I don't know, successful.
Sure. Yeah.
How do you like, I mean, in order to serve them, you literally need to have no ego,
Yeah.
How the hell is that even possible?
I think two things. I think really one part is, I think with the whole exposure to the celebrity part, you realize at the end of the day, everyone's just human.
Yes.
So I think my trick when dealing with big talents is don't put them on a pedestal. Treat them as a human being.
Yep.
Everyone, you've been around celebs as well, the whole culture.
Yep.
Everyone panders to what they're looking for. if you're the guy that's just like, okay, forget all this, I'm just gonna treat you as a human being. Hey, what's up? Hi. Wow, remember what happened outside?
Refreshing for them.
Suddenly they're like, it's very refreshing, and then they take notice, and then they're a little bit more grounded with you because now they know you're grounded as well, right? So I think that's the first part. I think really the second part is,
But it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
but
Yeah.
the more, I think once you get so exposed to it,
Yeah,
becomes like this like normal everyday thing because
For
it's your career, right?
normal people, they see Travis Scott, they're like, oh, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But to me, I think because of the constant exposure, it just became like a norm, which is lucky for me.
Yeah.
And then I think the next part is also there's so many people that are way more successful, so it's very hard to tell, you know. So I think to me is among the right people, everyone's fairly grounded. The whole concept of ego really goes out of the way because you might be a top celebrity. The top celebrities always hang out with bigger investors, like bigger money guys. So everyone sort of like understands that you don't really your ego doesn't show up too much. But every now and then we definitely need people with big egos.
I feel like the more you know and the richer you get, right? Actually, the ego starts to dissipate. Do you find that to be true, or it really just depends on people?
Yeah, I think it's personality, but a lot of it is personal experience as well.
The more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, why I'm grounded is because I'm truly very intrigued, right? So any space or any situation I go to, I'm more interested in listening and hearing and seeing everything, right? Picking up all these subtle cues rather than, oh, I know everything. That's just one way verbal, right? I think when it comes out, you don't spend enough time thinking.
Yeah.
So in certain aspects, I'm more sort of introspective. I'll listen, I'll see, because a lot of these knowledge eventually resurfaces in different things that I do anyway.
I think at the end of the day, this is also considered service line, right?
Service, yeah.
Yeah. And then to give good service, you need to know.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are some of the most like ridiculous requests that you have gotten? You know, actually, I heard this very interesting story. Do you know Amex Centurion card? Right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
some secret cheat code of the world, right?
Yeah.
So there's this guy that did some membership work for them. They say that certain requests is so ridiculous. Like for example, I'm super rich. I own the Amex Centurion card. I can call the 24 hours concierge and tell them that, hey, my son is doing a project about the Sahara Desert or something.
Yep.
Can somebody help me go and get the sand or something?
Yep.
And like 48 hours later, the sand just show up at the doorstep.
Yeah. What? So those are concierges, right?
Yeah.
You can either have a concierge through a credit card like Amex, or you can pay for a concierge service where like quintessentially there's Aspire, 10 Group.
Ooh.
It's quite a few of this in the world, but their whole job is, so concierges are good and bad in a certain way.
Okay.
So like Amex, we used to actually supply Amex with experiences.
Oh.
Yeah. So
you do the legwork in a sense.
we are the background supplier, and then they become sort of our front end B2B supplier. Yeah. So what a lot of the concierges, in my aspect, are very passive. Means their marketing is whatever you want, you just let us know, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds great on the surface, but most people don't know what they want.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
Right. Or
They don't know what's the craziest, you know.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
That's really it. So I will never think, okay, I want to go backstage to hang out at Coachella with Beyonce.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you guys got a Neo thing coming up soon, right?
We have the Neo stuff.
Whoa, that's crazy, man.
You know, to tell a concierge, number one, no matter how high net worth you are, you're also afraid of rejection, right? You're gonna be like, tell this, and then the guy on the other line is gonna just laugh at you. And he's like, no, forget it. Right? So I think that's the part where most concierges tend to fail because most people just don't know or just too scared to mention anything. So what we did in the past that was successful was, let's say for this Beyonce backstage Coachella thing, we would actually sort of put it down as a menu. So customers can sort of look through and then suddenly be like, hey, maybe I can do this.
Yeah.
Do that. It seeds the idea, right? But then once it's possible, then hey, actually I don't want a Rolls Royce. Can I?
They know the direction already.
Yeah. They know it's possible. So that's how we seeded a lot of different ideas. Like we put clients at the Victoria's Secret fashion show like a couple of years ago in China. After party.
Victoria's Secret. Wow.
Yeah, they did
Oh,
it at the
damn.
Shanghai thing. Me and my wife went as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, my wife was like 6 months pregnant, but she decided to fly with me.
Hey, need to go, man.
And she was like, "No, I don't want to go." So I called one of my
Oh, shit,
best.
I wanna go.
I called one of my best friends in Australia, and I was like, "Yo, I'm going to Victoria's Secret. Want to go?" And then within 48 hours, he packed. He met me there. Yeah, and then yeah. So a lot of these things are a bit far out of the realm of like, how do I even?
It's not your
think of this,
day-to-day thing, right?
It's not your day-to-day.
I won't
thing,
suddenly
right?
think like, hey, tomorrow I want to go meet Beyonce.
Yeah. So that's what we're trying to make available. I think there's a lot of experience, a lot of passion out there. My forte is, I think the mass market is already, like you said, saturated. There's many people in that sphere. I don't think I have anything new to add into that.
Example of like mass market, like mass market VIP service, you mean?
Or just mass market experiences, you think. So
Or
things that, let's say, happen at,
like valet, simple stuff like that.
or in clubbing, right?
Clubbing.
So clubbing, there is the something that happens every single
Bottle
week.
service,
Right.
blah blah.
If you have money and you've lived this maybe 5 times, 10 times,
What's
what's
next?
new? What's new?
Yeah, what's new? Yeah.
What's new? Right? So in terms of human psychology, there's this thing called hedonist adaptation.
Oh, I was thinking hedonistic treadmill.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing. So hedonistic treadmill is your baseline. No matter how happy, you tend to revert, right?
Yeah.
But what happens to if you've done the same thing over and over?
Yeah.
Your emotional, it just diminishes. You do the same thing, the thrill is no longer there. So your baseline tends to go up because you need to do more or push it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think to me, where I get excited is the people that have risen their baseline. What is that?
Yeah.
Then, I mean, the money is one aspect, but then the desire to do more becomes more exciting. It's like the canvas is expanding, right?
Yeah. But I think there's also an equally dark side, right, to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like when you have too much fun, then you like some PDD level shit, you know.
Yeah.
So personally, right, for your services, which actually we haven't really get into it yet, lah. But what is something that you will not provide? Because you are like literally trying to unlock experiences, trying to unlock what's impossible, you know.
Yeah.
But what is like considered going too far? Do you like explicitly put it out there, or it's just like a moral compass thing?
I think it's really moral compass. I think the early days of doing this, we had a lot of weird shit. Yeah.
Like weird requests, like
Weird requests. And I mean, even now today, I
can
think
you review anything?
we didn't do it, but a couple of years ago, like 10 years ago,
Oh yeah.
we had someone that was willing to pay 10 million to hunt a tiger,
Wait, 10 million what? USD?
USD. Yeah.
What the fuck?
So
Hey, that's
it-
crazy.
So in China, apparently it's a thing. It's not
Just
a
like
big
sport,
thing. So they'll hunt a tiger.
Yeah.
After hunting, they'll take the tiger and boil it in a stew for many hours until the stew is reduced to like a pill type form,
Whoa.
right?
Okay.
and then that pill
Essence.
you take it. Yeah.
Okay. I think I watched Discovery Channel. They say like lion or tiger meat is very acidic. You know, if human eat, it's poisonous.
Apparently for Chinese, okay, I don't know, believe in it, but it's like very warm, right?
Or pu
Like,
ah.
the essence of it. So
Like yeah.
for certain people that believe it, that is actually worth the
Worth 10 million.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So there's that
Holy
side.
shit.
There's a lot
What
of
the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a huge list of
Wow, cannot say.
weird stuff that falls outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this podcast gonna take down. Wow.
Okay. Tiger,
Yeah.
the maximum will go.
Yeah, but wow, that is crazy. And maybe we can go a little bit about like, okay, so you have this very valuable product that Amex wants to buy, Amber Lounge wants to buy. Can you like give us like a brief rundown of what this company that you started after the photography days? Yeah.
Okay. So it actually transitioned. So I started a company called the Lumenere Group.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Luminary is like the light
Yeah.
to light the way.
Yep.
So the first wave after I got back from the US was celebrity brokering, sorry. Back in the days, there wasn't social media. Trying to connect with a celebrity was a very difficult process.
Yeah.
There wasn't your CA here. There was still quite a big gap lah.
Yeah.
So when I first got back, a lot of my initial group of friends were all advertising. So they were like, "Hey, I heard you know Lady Gaga. Can you book Lady Gaga? Can you do this Brad Pitt?" Because these were all big brands,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
They were doing sort of projects here, doing projects in China. So one of the first requests was Lady Gaga for Olympics in China, and they were going to pair her with this artist from China called Momo Wu, which is the Lady Gaga of China.
I mean, back then they did like Wang Lihong and Avicii or something, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of these gaps that it wasn't a business in the first place. Only after I started getting all these requests, and I did these favors, right? I'll connect Brad Pitt with Mercedes and connected it.
The hell?
And then after a while, it was like, why am I doing this for free? Right?
Not everybody can do that, you know.
But
Yeah.
the circle of friends or the managers and stuff like that was, one email, several calls away. It was very easy to do this brokering, right?
Because you're in a circle already, man.
Because you're in the circle. A lot of in the photography days, all the agents or the managers were all more or less part of that same circle, right?
Yeah.
So when I first got to Asia, that was the few things we did, lah.
Wow.
I think in Asia we did Far East movement with Tiger Beer. Several things I can't remember.
Yep,
Yeah, but
I
it
remember
was
that.
all celebrity based. And then after the celebrity part, sort of like people got used to it. As I was hanging out with the clientele, the clients were now saying, "Hey, wow, you were in the US. Wouldn't it be cool if, wow, we could go to the Grammys? Or what's it like to go to the Oscars?"
Whoa.
Right? Then I realized the connection to make these happen was the same circle of managers and brands in the US.
My God, does that mean 1% of the world control the world?
It
Sadly.
not 1%, but really,
Yeah.
if you know 10 people, top 10 of the
10
top
key
people connects, you make it happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
I think with any
God.
industry it's like that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's what we started to do. Like, hey, okay, yes, it's possible, but the fee is this much. Are you willing to pay? Okay, yes, pay.
You're rich as fuck, you know.
So we started connecting these. So a lot of the business wasn't really planned. It was very organic because of the demand came in, and then we were like, hey, can we fill it?
Wow,
So
you
demand
adapted
and
to the needs,
request,
man.
yeah, supply.
damn.
Yeah. So that started to evolve because from private clients, then the banks started coming in. Because the banks were now, hey, I have this client that is going to sign $100 million deal with me or something, right? And they are allowed to take a small quantum as an incentive, right? So same, like I'll give you an example today, Formula One, right? Bank A, Bank B, the products are more or less the same. Bank A, okay, if I know you like Formula One, I'll say, okay, I'll put you to sign with me, I'll send you to the paddock.
Okay.
But if you love Formula One, you've been to the paddock like 10 times already, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't inspire you.
Yeah.
Bank B, with our services, will say, hey, if you sign with me, I'll fly you to the south of France. I'll put you into an F4, F3, F1 car with the 45% Alpine team teaching you how to race, clocking times, full
Damn.
professional. Who will you sign with?
Wow.
The money works the same both
But
sides,
the
right?
experience is next level.
Yeah. So they started to use this as a competitive
Edge.
USP, a competitive edge, right?
Mm.
So that was the fun days lah, where we got to do all these different things. Yeah.
Wow. Fuck, that's crazy. I don't even know how to go from there. It is like so fucking like beyond my realm of imagination. I've seen some VIP services, but this is like XXL, man. So that's basically Lumenere Group.
Yeah.
Which is like you're providing VIP service. And then how did it kind of like end up integrating with Amber Lounge?
Amber.
Yeah.
So we work with different partners to create official brand experiences, right?
Yes.
So I think with Amber, that was one of the things. Amber is beautiful because we do such great, amazing F1 parties around the world.
Yep.
Right. So there's a separate team that takes care of that. I'm really not involved in that.
Yep.
But to me is how do we then we have the client base.
Yep.
How do we continue to make things exciting for them?
Yep.
Right. And this clientele, if you can buy $50,000, $100,000 tables, you can then expand and do certain things. So for us, I think we were in a position to deliver that. I think the current CEO, Patrick, saw potential and we started chatting for a while and we were like, hey, not just once a year, can we deliver this all year round? You know, some of the new things we've done is we've taken over the private suites at the Singapore and KL stadium.
Yeah.
So for us, we're able to sort of offer our clients something new,
Yeah.
right? A more luxury elevated experience.
Right.
But the thing is not to stop there. What else can we do? So that's why in 2 weeks, we're getting Neo. So Neo is already doing a concert on the 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
So we've convinced him to do something on the 8th in Singapore. It's a private party. In a concert, it's large, right? You're one out of, let's say, 10,000 people. The distance, you feel the gap. Although it's a great concert, awesome. But there are certain clients that want more. Or not in a egoistic, wow, my money can buy everything. But if you're a fan, how do I get closer?
Umakase.
Right? How do you create a more... I think our job is not to, wow, just because you have money, let's just do it. It's how do you really create a meaningful experience?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for us, I think the experience that we created something for the Neo, we only limited to 200 people. So that's number one. Smaller place, we put him in the middle. I don't know when this
Boiler
is
room,
aired,
boiler room.
but we've
Maybe
got...
like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe probably after your Neo thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's actually his birthday on the 18th of October. So we're doing it on the 8th of November. So it's only 2 weeks difference.
Yeah.
But we worked with Neo's manager and we're genuinely going to surprise him as a birthday.
Whoa.
So imagine if you're one of the 200 crowd, you're singing happy birthday, you're part of Neo's birthday.
yeah.
So if you talk about meaningful, memorable,
You can tell your friends, hey, I celebrate Neo's birthday.
Yeah. So a lot of that, it doesn't happen by accident. It's
Yeah.
really by design.
Yeah.
So when I say we are designing things to make it more meaningful, these are few of the ways. And then for us, when he gets on stage, it's not to replicate what's in the concert. For us, it's how can he tell about the stories behind the songs? Why did I write about this song? Was there any... What was the good or bad things? So at least people understand, you know, if we just replicated the concert, then what's so special about it?
I feel you on so many levels because other than this weekly podcast, we also have a weekly radio show where we invite like literally the top DJs in Singapore to do a 1 hour set. So every day, right, I will like order some zi cha, right? And I literally have the best Singapore DJ performing in front of me, right? And then every week I'm just like, wow, damn, I'm so lucky, sir. Nobody actually get that. And then we will be talking about, wow, how many hours he practiced in order to get to the level that he's at, what kind of sacrifices. You know, so it's very like, I don't even know how to say this in English, man. It's like very, maybe like intimate.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like, hey, you know, I know you, that kind of.
So apparently over COVID, one of the world's, because everything shut down, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the international DJs were doing one-off private parties.
Like
so
Zoom,
they would Zoom. So, okay, I don't know what happened in COVID. I think I didn't experience it, but we were at a friend's party a year ago, outside of COVID already.
During COVID, you were like US.
COVID, I was here.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
had
God.
young kids.
Oh my God, then
so it was
lockdown.
perfect time to be locked down anyway.
Okay lah.
But so a lot of these big name DJs still do now. Like our friends were having a party. They would hire the DJ. DJ would stream live on TV, and he's just paying for us, this group only.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a common thing, but
I mean, we did it at Zook days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the boss, the owner, Huey will be like, hey, I have 10 friends at my house right now and we're watching you on TV. And it really feel like private, you know. Can we like dedicate this song? I'm like, oh shit.
I thought that was quite a nice experience because people are figuring out ways of, you know, technology can be quite cold, but when you perform, but for like a small group, that still felt special. And because these guys were in Germany or somewhere around the world and doing it, that felt even more special, you know? Yeah.
It's all about like selling the exclusive lah. And then working, maybe before we talk about working towards IPO, right, I'm very curious about how did you even like get that Brad Pitt or Lady Gaga connection? What did that take? So you know this manager, but it's not gonna be that simple, right?
So usually with managers, agents and managers, their jobs are to make the most money for their clients, right? That's really it. So
yes, a good one lah.
A good one.
Yeah lah.
Because I mean, most of them will, because when they make the deal, money goes into their pocket anyway.
Correct. Win-win.
Yeah, so it's a win-win. Right?
Percentage cut, whatever.
Yeah. So for me, any certain deals, because it wasn't my place. I had never done a deal before, right? A lot of it was like, hey, I got this thing. These clients are from Pepsi, this guy Coca-Cola. They're wanting to do this deal. These are the rough terms. Are you interested in chatting? So for me, I was just always the middleman. Are you interested? Yes, yes. Okay, then I connect.
Or then
Right.
you leave the deal in a sense
Then I left
up
the
to
deal.
them.
Yeah. So for me, because I had never done a deal like this before, to me, and I wasn't even planning to come back in Singapore, right? It was one of those, I came back by accident, everything was like cool. And then it was like friends that asked, so it's just, okay, just connect, you know,
Yeah.
what is the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
But more and more of this started to happen.
Oh.
So to me, it was just like, it'd be silly if I just spend all my time connecting and not make any money. So that's how the company was born.
When you connect them, did they like, hey, thanks for the record? Then they like comms you a bit?
No,
Or
nothing,
never?
nothing.
Oh my god.
yeah.
That's super not steady, man.
Yeah. Funny enough, I don't even think I'm friends with these marketing directors anymore. I was just not because of anything. It's just like, yeah, we're not like super good friends. But for me, I was willing to like, hey, just connect.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Oh my god, you're like nice guy, ultimate nice guy.
I guess when you don't think, because I think maybe it was also confidence, right?
Right.
It was never my job. To me, it was just like, okay lah, just try. If something
Effortless,
happens,
right?
it doesn't work, too bad. You know,
Hello.
I can claim like, oh, it's not my job. I was just connecting you guys. But some of these eventually came about. Some of these like huge campaigns. It was after a while that it was like, should be making something from this, right? Why am I not? Yeah.
Wow. And then I mean from there, I believe like Amber kind of see something special in your company and decided to partner up with you guys.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I think for this year you guys have that yacht experience, right? So when everybody else is in the same venue as last time, right? And then you guys provided a special yacht thing.
Yeah.
Did the yacht like kind of like, I mean, because that venue is so unique, right? It is like a concert hall that's just by the pier.
Yeah.
So you have your super VIPs on the yacht.
So the real story, when you go back at it, I think we were trying to think of how to elevate the customer experience. F1 genuinely is good. They've done pretty much every single thing, right?
Yeah.
So then it became the challenge on like how to identify where the gaps are. So we sat back and really studied. I think Amber was interesting because we took over the Fullerton Bay Hotel. And at the back of it, there was the yacht docks, right? Most of the time, I think you've only seen the DBS sails. Have you seen those? The race sails?
Yeah.
You've never seen a super yacht inside the bay,
No.
right? So a couple of years ago, a friend brought in a yacht, and I think it was then we knew it was possible.
Yeah.
So this year, we spoke to the different yacht owners. We tried to bring in. So we were able to bring in almost 5 yachts into the bay this year.
Wow.
This year was super active. So that was an experience where, okay, initially we thought it was going to be a party experience because you party the yacht and then you walk out into Amber and then you continue your experience, right?
Yeah.
But I think we learned that the clientele wasn't really looking for party because in like at 11 onwards, there's going to be the main Amber party. They were looking for privacy.
Oh.
So a lot of your foreign dignitaries, politicians that couldn't be seen around partying, they were on the yacht.
Wow.
Yeah.
But how do you like find that out? Did they like send someone to communicate it with you, or
I don't think,
or you just assume and you were right?
I don't think we knew. We
Wow.
thought, like I said, the original process was to rent the yacht to sell the yacht to a buyer with a DJ on board. So it would be a pre-party sunset. You know, you would be watching the race from the yacht bay,
Whoa.
which is a very different experience.
Wow.
I'll show you videos of it.
Yeah.
So I think that became the thing that was exciting. You know, if you're like a genuine F1 fan, you've been to Paddock many times, Sky Suites many times, you've been to all the different parties, and then you're like, what's next?
Yeah.
So for us, we are now trying to figure out the what is next. You know, there was a special race viewing party that happened on the top of One Fullerton as well.
Okay.
So normally One Fullerton, the rooftop is just empty.
Yeah.
But now they built special tentages, and the view from that rooftop is so much closer than Fullerton Hotel. Yeah. So it's one of those invisible spots that tend to be overlooked because a lot of the bigger nightlife places have all been taken up, right? So for us, that's been the challenge. Lah. So now that we've done the yachts, what else is next?
Wow.
So that's the challenging part of the business, right? It's like you can't just do this. Then now that
You're
becomes
constantly-
normal. How do you then?
You're constantly like pushing the frontier, you know, like how do you even come up with these ideas? Like, do you have like somebody like, you know, generating ideas for you, or is it just all of you guys?
Yeah. So I think that's what the team is good for, or team is good at, because we understand what the clients are looking for. We may not always be 100% on point, but we're within that 90% range.
Wow.
Right? Because I think being through the months, we get feedback. Hey, this is interesting. That's interesting. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
So there's actually a lot of underground things that you don't even hear. I think the value for me is the things that don't even show up on media.
Wow.
Right? The best parties are the ones behind closed doors. No
The tiger
media,
hunting
no special. Yeah. There's a huge world behind that, and for the people that genuinely appreciate that, that is, I mean, there will always be people that love the mainstream. Wow, just because it's big, perfect. By all means, do that. But then, for the ones that have already done that, are looking for something maybe more meaningful, more memorable. There's always different things happening. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because a couple of days ago, right? I think yesterday and a couple of days ago, I repeated this concept and to a few of my DJ friends and peers, and they kind of see the sense in it. Like when you are 17, you can't enter a club.
Sure.
Being 18 is the next best thing.
Yeah.
Then when you are 18, what's next best thing? Getting guest list. And then eventually, I'm on a guest list already. I want to be on VIP.
Yeah.
And then eventually I want to go to Amber Lounge,
Yeah.
that you need more and more of that kind of thing. And then
It's just
eventually
different progressions, like different stages.
correct. And when you are telling me that Burkhan is also like on his last legs already, right? And then I feel like the next thing for clubbing, right, will be like the super exclusive kind of experience, like how Boiler Room became big in the first
Sure.
place. I forget which one of my DJ friends told me this story, but Boiler Room started as like, okay, I'm the organizer and I want to promote my friend who is releasing an album. So we'll invite 5 of our closest friends. That's it, And then for many years, it's just a private experience.
Yeah.
And then everybody is like, hey, this is cool. How do I even get there? But there's no invite link. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
And you just want to be there so badly. Yeah.
So I think that's the things we tap upon as well. Money or no money, high net worth, I think, like I said, everyone at the day is still humans.
Yes.
Right? We're all still fairly triggered around the same psychology.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of FOMO, people want what they can't have, a lot of this still triggers the high net worth clientele, discerning clientele. Because if it's exclusive or if you want access, I tell you no, the more you'll want it.
Whoa, yeah. Man.
So there is a way to sort of flip the script, I think, but that's part of the marketing. All this you still need the core experience to be really memorable, and then you can add all these different things on. Yeah.
And you being a VIP service provider, right? Like for example, one of my favorite podcasts, Benjamin Yap. I don't know if you
Yeah, I know Ben Yap.
It's the stupidest episode. Every time we say the word Zook, right, we need to take a shot. So we're like drunk by 20 minutes time. We are like dead. So that episode, right, I just realized that, okay, you're a VIP manager, you have to really know your product very well.
Yeah.
And he's like VIP, literally like one of the top VIP personnel in Singapore doing VIP work for many, many big clubs. And he's like very well versed in the clubbing world.
Yeah.
But for your one, it's like, I think it's another level where if people want VIP experience in concert, you need to know that.
Sure.
If people want VIP experience in like UFC, you want to go UFC, you also need to know.
Yeah.
So how do you do you have like a different person for different field or?
Yeah, so we do definitely have a team because things are raging so much. So previously, I think our mistake was also spreading ourselves too thin. We tried to conquer every single thing, right? And then not everything sells. So the effort, the time spent, I think that was, we learned that lesson, right? Now with Amber, I think it's a little bit more focused because a lot of our clientele are party entertainment first and then F1 Motorsports, right? So for us, we are conquering that world first.
Right.
So putting a client into a Formula One car, putting
crazy.
a client into the safety car, You know the safety car that rolls out?
Like some OUV vehicle in front of the F1 car or something
Yes.
like that.
So it's usually the Aston Martin F1 Vantage.
Right? Mm.
So putting someone in the middle of the race inside the car. Obviously, they don't drive, but they are
officials
passenger
are-
for the car. But you're driving during the race.
Wow.
And you see all the F1 cars. I think that thrill is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So that's suddenly one of the products that we had. So we're starting to expand the world of F1, right? So if you love motorsports, what else can you do, right? So for us, we're constantly pushing and trying to see what else we can deliver as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Because after a while, something's become norm, right? So for now, maybe not everything is norm yet. We have maybe a few cycles, but for us, we're always have to thinking one step ahead.
Something that I learned when I was at Amber Lounge the other couple of months back, right, was I think Amber Lounge was first started by a wife of a F1 driver.
A sister, Sonia
sister,
Irving.
right?
Yeah, Irvine.
But
yeah.
it's two separate entities if you think about it, right?
What do you mean?
It's like F1 and Amber Lounge is not linked, right? It's two separate companies,
yeah.
right? So it's like they just happen to live. They have like a symbiotic relation.
It suddenly overlapped
Ah.
by luck, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but then the thing is they don't like dictate what each other's
Yeah.
programming is like. So right now, this Amber Lounge company is basically bought by Patrick, right?
Yeah,
He's a Singaporean. A lot of people don't know that, and it's a huge thing for Singapore.
Yeah.
And does he have like any tie-ups with F1 so as to like gel the two experiences better?
Not officially. I think both still remain separately.
Yeah.
F1, from what I know across the world, they haven't gone into sort of like official parties yet. They deliver the F1 race, but that's where it ends. I mean, if you think like Singapore, there's the concerts, even like the one in Texas or Abu Dhabi, I think Eminem or someone is performing. That is already the maximum they'll do.
Oh.
After that, it's everybody's,
They distribute the fans to all the local clubs.
Yeah. But with Amber Lounge, because of the heritage, because Sonia Irvine started it and her brother, Eddie, was one of the F1 drivers. So to support his sister, all his F1 driver friends showed up.
Yeah.
And obviously, that became what Amber was known for, right? Through the years, anytime you want a party where all the F1 drivers, that would be the Amber Lounge.
Place to be.
Yeah. So if you think about the experience, that was the experience that it was known for.
Yeah.
Then on top, obviously, it built upon that. But Amber Lounge now, that became the norm. Now it's added so many layers on top of that it just becomes this huge spectacle when you go, from trapeze acts to all these different things. It becomes this full circus. Think Cirque du Soleil,
Yeah.
right? But a full Cirque du Soleil party.
Yeah.
Where if you think about experiences, you don't get many of these experiences a lot. I think maybe the constant would be all your Vegas clubs.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to Vegas club, those are on a weekly, nightly basis. They're huge, but most people around the world haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was at Amber Lounge, I went Amber Lounge a total of 2 times, right? And I realized that personally for me, right, the greatest spectacle, right, is to be able to hang out with all these people there.
Sure.
That is for me, it's like, what the fuck? It's like all these people is like, wow, it's like you don't really see all these people gather on one spot.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, it's like, I mean, DJ, you can see DJ anywhere.
Sure.
Trapeze artists, maybe a bit rarer, but they're still around. But all these like important people gathering at one spot is not very common. And I think that's like one of the main selling points. And obviously like free flow alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So I had a story that was pre-Amber Lounge, before I joined them, under when Sonia owned it.
Okay.
They used to build these pop-up tents outside of Millennium Walk. So if you know where the office towers are, there's sort of like a waterfall like area. They'll shut it down and they'll just build this like circus tent.
Yeah.
So I think my memory of Amber Lounge was always like that, where nothing today, wow, pop up this grand spectacle, super luxury, everything was there, and suddenly it disappears.
Yes.
My one memory was, because I think once you gain access to this, everyone becomes equals.
Yes.
And this was an experience even I think this was 7-8 years ago, right?
Yep.
Where we were in the tent. I don't know how I ended up hanging out with Richard Branson. and we were drinking shots and stuff like that. It was one of those like pinch me with Richard Branson. We're just drinking, shooting the shit, and just doing that. So
I can totally imagine that. That's so crazy.
it was one of those worlds that
Yeah.
everyone became equals.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that to me was why I've always felt Amber Lounge is very special.
Yeah. Sorry, this conversation is like too good, right? I like hallucinating whether I'm recording this. Wow, that is fucking insane, because like the last time that someone mentioned Richard Branson was like Lincoln, when I had Lincoln Cheng.
Yeah.
And then it's like one of the first Zouk Up was like being co-sponsored by Virgin Group lah. And Richard Branson is such a forward-thinking individual, and he don't mind like going up to your level or going down to your level.
Sure.
He's like truly like the man of the people.
Yeah.
And it's so bloody difficult, and especially when you are like a billionaire and you have like tons of responsibility, and you still have to keep your ego in check. That is like virtually like some, I don't know, Jesus Christ level or some shit.
But funny enough, so there's this curve, right? Almost every billionaire I've met, you can tell the billionaire, he's the one in the torn t-shirt and sweatpants, while everyone that's working is all in the power suits.
I actually saw a TikTok about that.
Tell you is 100% true, yeah.
You know Shark Tank, there's this other guy. Shark Tank like got the
There's a Dennis Leary, Mark Cuban.
Dennis Leary is Mr.
Fantastic, yeah.
right? There's Mark Cuban, and there's another guy. Who's the other guy? And then there's the Barbara, right?
Yeah.
And there's Laurie. But that guy.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, you know that guy, right? So that guy is like
Combed hair, very proper. Yeah.
He's like he was like talking to Mark Cuban's like, what the hell? Everybody is in suits, but you're like dressed like so poorly. I say, because I can.
Yeah.
So it's like the millionaires are the one dressing like the formal, and then they are working for the guy that dress whatever the fuck he wants.
In the t-shirt and shorts.
Yeah,
in his beach house and whatever.
Yeah.
So you realize, I think once you hit a certain point, there's nothing to prove.
Yeah.
What do I have to prove to you? I can buy everything and anything. Do I have to spend money just to prove it to you?
Yeah.
So I think you realize a lot of the up and coming are the ones in like, wow, brands and this and that. And then to a certain point, you just don't give a shit. Yeah. It's more about what you stand for, the values and everything. Yeah.
But I often see, right, people that is not doing so well, but they dress like shit, right? Then you kind of can one shot. You can one shot tell like, oh shit, this guy is not doing well, man. I think maybe you really truly need to have the substance, right, to radiate that kind of like,
Sure.
I don't know, Gen Z like to call that riz, you know? Yeah.
So yes and no. There's some.
Wow.
There's
I
a.
need to top up, man.
Yeah, me too. There's a client. There's a casino
Same thing.
here.
Oh, you want to top up your
I'll try this. This was actually quite good. Oh yeah, I'll stick to this. Right?
6 days, huh? Okay. Yeah, everything is gin, by the way.
Tangling, right? Tangling,
Yeah.
they haven't made anything outside of gin, right?
Yeah, I think it's like a very small, concentrated force lah. So I think they want to master gin first before they do something else. Or maybe they want to keep the gin forever. Yeah, but I okay. This is not. This is maybe happening like 2 weeks from now. Now it's like some end October, right? So first week of November, we're gonna level up our radio show. So it's like obviously you guys are like the master of leveling up, right? You guys are like constantly leveling up. So I just chanced upon the idea of leveling up because we are always shooting our radio show at this studio, right?
Okay.
But one day we just like, okay, what if we off all the lights, right? And then we put our own like music triggering LEDs. So one of our friends did it, and then the views just like 400% up. Then we like,
Wait, what do you mean by triggering? What is
so
that?
you know, like club lights, right?
Yeah.
Are actually played by lighting and video jockeys to synchronize with the DJs.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have a mini version that there's a guy sitting there that can control his app
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
with the music. So it's flashing as like 3 like long lightsaber looking LED bars.
I see that, yeah.
Just some simple shit lah, just 4 of them, and then all the lights off, and then when we DJ, the music will synchronize and everything, right? The views just like times 400%.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh shit, you know, people actually want to see new shit every time. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do at Tanglin Jin's Gin Jungle Bar.
Okay.
So they have a bar that is like connected to a forest. And then we're like, whoa, this is like amazing, you know? And then we try and do like some sun, like a day to sunset kind of vibe. And it's gonna just a filming session and just gonna be our friends invited. So we got that like exclusivity vibe.
Because
Yeah.
rather than just lights, you can also use some immersive screens or projections, right? So some of that audio can somehow bleed into the music, and somehow there was a thing I saw.
Is it a TikTok on this China club where like there's two sofa, right? And the LED is at 360 degrees.
I follow that as well.
And it's like a roller coaster.
That's actually quite cool. I've been trying to convince one of our clients to do that.
Okay, you drink halfway, then you're in a roller coaster. You're just like, whoa, what the hell? You know? Yeah.
But I think this was at, if I'm not wrong, this was at Changi Airport, at Jewel. No, not Jewel.
Yeah, they have the screen, but it's like leading to a toilet one, right?
No. I think Terminal 2.
Yeah.
There's the one with the big waterfall, and then it was the giant like LED screens, right? They were playing videos.
Yeah.
I think one of it was playing water, like waves.
Yeah.
But then I don't know whether there was a DJ, but there was music that was synced to the waves.
Yeah.
So it's very the waves would set the tone, then the music would ride upon that tone.
Wow.
So it was quite cool because
Yeah.
it was led by nature, but it wasn't sort of like the Bali type like soulful music. It was a bit like electronic, commercial electronic music.
I mean, with the DJ scene now also, right? I don't know if you know this new DJ that like literally is taking over the world called Anima.
Wow, yeah, that one. He's
believe-
playing at the Sphere.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's just beyond music really.
Yeah,
It's like the whole 360 immersive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that really truly is the future.
But a lot of the big DJs are now doing such immersive work. I think was it David Guetta as well? He did something in Israel or something like that.
He did the Pyramid of Giza also. Right?
Pyramid Giza, but a lot of it was like light projections on it. So one of my most amazing things was at Wonderfruit. Have you ever been to Wonderfruit?
I've never been, but I've heard a lot of things about it. It's basically the best underground music festival in whole of Asia, I would argue.
So why that moment was amazing was there was the festival and then there was the headliner act. So we had to sort of like dive through 3 trees and stuff like that to get to this quarry. It was a granite quarry, right?
Yeah.
So number one, it was like, wow, you have to like work for it, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get there, it was scenes that were projected on the quarry. The DJ console was sort of like floating in the middle of the quarry. So by then you're like, I don't know how many drinks in already. Then it became like, wow, this whole amazing fantasy things, light and stuff like that. It's not something you get in a club. You know it's nature, you're outdoors. So this multi-sensory thing that was happening, right?
Yeah.
And then just being able to see is like, is what I'm seeing real?
Nature meets technology.
Right? So I think that was the experience to me because I've done a lot, you've seen a lot, but when you see something for the first time again, that is amazing.
Wow. Yeah. Because I think that like fighting through, like bashing through the vegetation kind of thing, right? It kind of like reminds me of a interior design philosophy. They call it the release. So it's like when you open a door, right? You go through a very narrow pathway to eventually lead into the hallway, right? Then you get that release, and then they double down or 10x the release by creating a spectacle there. Then you just like sensory overload. Yeah.
But it felt like because we were co-developing the experience with them, right? It almost felt like a ritual. Everyone had to like cut through the trees and dug through and everything because that was just the path there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Even if you're a VIP, you just had to go through.
It's not even you purposely try to do it.
No, it was just
the
a jungle, basically. Right?
Yeah.
But that to me was one of the most amazing things I've seen.
Yeah.
So I think my concept is, how do you deliver doing things for the first time? At 17, there was a lot, right?
Yeah.
But when you're a 50, 60-year-old, have a lot of money, you've done everything. Delivering the first time to making them feel that genuine awe, that to me is my kick. Right? Where you can, people genuinely like, wow, that essence where I saw.
Live vicariously through them.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it because because you are literally you have seen it all, Like the VIPs have seen quite a lot, but you're the curators of their experience, right?
Yeah.
So you literally have to be the seen it all guy. But in order to keep yourself passionate, right, you like kind of live vicariously through them, right? So you can be serving a 50-year-old VIP or an 18-year-old VIP, right? You still feel the same joy, right?
But So I think why I'm good at this is I genuinely hunt for these as well.
Oh.
I genuinely go out and find things that are like, wow, because it's hard to design if you haven't experienced it,
Yep.
right? So we'll always try to go outside, try to do the weirdest shit, right?
Yeah.
And some of it works out, some of it not. Most of the time, everything is paid off.
One thing I realized is right, because I follow you, I see most people in Insta stories like I do 2 things for the day or I do 1 thing on the day. Yours is like I do like 7 things today, 17 things today, I do 18 things tomorrow. It's like oh, you're like constantly everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't realize that until someone mentioned it as well. Like you're stacking so many things. You're like, is this like 2 days? Is it
But you
3
don't
days?
feel
Yeah.
forced, you know. You don't feel forced. It's just like, you know, it's very normal. Like, I don't even know how to put it to words. Like, sometimes when people are like trying to curate an experience,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Your one is just like, I'm just checking things off my to-do list,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
I think that's why, for me, because I have nothing to prove, a lot of it is just in line with my life. So I think
You know?
early part of my childhood, maybe it was a bit that uncertainty, I had to prove certain things. I think now I'm very comfortable in the fact that, okay, I'm just developing. I have good people. Pat believes in me. Let's figure out this out. Let's deliver it and just scale worldwide. You know, for me, I think this is a very exciting time in my life. Yeah.
Yeah. And as an entrepreneur, right, your work is like 24/7. I think okay, I don't know about you, but personally as a musician, right, it is literally entrepreneurship. You are selling your tunes, you know, and you're not making money for a long period of time before you blow up, right?
Yeah.
And you literally get the bulk of your, like 90% of your wealth within that 1 year of like blowing up, you know. So I think it's very similar to business where you are constantly thinking about your work and how do you like, you know, shut down to focus on family time, because I think you have like a very robust family.
Sure.
You know, your wife is like so supportive and your wife is actually following you to your events. Oh, that's so nice to see, you know. Yeah.
I think that's definitely a struggle. I think for me, my kids, because I made a conscious choice, they're a very big important part of my life. So as we do a lot of the experiences, as much as possible, I'll bring my kids along with them. Yeah. So to them, they also get exposed, right? So to them, they're also what is normal becomes stretches.
Yeah.
So by the time they get older, they can start pushing things as well, if they choose to, right? If not, my job as a parent, I've showed them most of the world I can show them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you can bring your whole entire family around, right, kind of makes your experience that you curate more wholesome and less like PDD.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually tell people about it and, you know, promote your services. And I think that is really like the way to go lah. Like so many people try to dabble in the dark arts, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But I think that is inevitable, right? I think
In your line of business.
in line, yeah, I've seen a lot of like that stuff. But
like,
to me,
if your competitors can go further than you, you know, right?
so I think where the moral part of it, I think because I have family, I have kids as well.
Yeah.
There's a certain line where I don't want to end
You
up
set a
in
good
jail,
example.
right?
Yeah.
Or I just want to be around for them. I can push this, make money, but am I going to be around for them if I'm in jail? No, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's moral judgment. I think it's first more thinking about the larger picture, what's important to me. I think that naturally drew a line. But for me to push up against the line as much as possible, I'm totally down for that.
Yeah. So, do you have any goals that you are trying to achieve? I mean, very similar to Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and Jeff Bezos are trying to push the frontiers of space, right? I don't know. Are you gonna do like a space adventure or something one day?
I mean, funny enough, we got Virgin Galactic as a client.
Oh shit, that's actually happening.
4 weeks ago now, the astronauts from Virgin Galactic flew to Singapore. So we created the experience. Richard Branson left us a video note as well.
Yeah.
Because he was in Necker Island, so the time was different. So he recorded a video and we played.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had a room of 4 billionaires. The average net worth was about 100 million. It was people that were...
The fuck?
It was only 40 people. We didn't announce it publicly at all.
So you are like, if you're 100 million, you are like the poorest.
But it wasn't about the money.
Yeah lah, of course
So
lah.
we realized,
But that's insane to
It
think about
was-
it, you know, the scale.
it was the money. Obviously, the each ticket was US 600K.
US actually to go to space actually not that expensive, no.
right?
Actually,
Not too
honestly,
crazy.
not.
Okay.
I was expecting more actually.
A
Yeah.
few years ago, when we were looking, it started at 55 million. It dropped to 10 and now to
Is
600,000.
it thanks to Elon's recyclable rocket?
I think the whole industry, as the more they do it, and now 600, I think you give it 2-3 years, it might be half or even. I think
Yeah.
the whole goal is to make it fairly accessible, right? It's
Wait,
just
to-
the first wave for people that are.
To go to space, like how far? Is it space or like just stratosphere only?
Okay, so Virgin Galactic is suborbital, so it doesn't go out
Not
into
really
outer space.
outer
It's
space,
like, but you still, it's 2-3 hours, but the very peak of it, I think you get like 3 minutes worth of weightlessness.
Okay, that means you're like ozone layer level kind of thing.
Yeah. So what was exciting was the Virgin Galactic astronauts were showing videos, personal videos. When's the last time you met someone with a picture of space on his cell phone that he collected?
Fucking never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was one of the things that we designed the experience, right? Because number one, we had to get these clientele into the room. So we vetted, we made sure that it wasn't something that is novelty because we were only doing one session of 40 people in Singapore. So number one, the 40 people in the room were very important.
Yeah.
So after the vetting, I had some crazy, like, one of the interested buyers was in a family business. So
30 plus, 20 plus.
I think it was 30 plus. And then he was like, he sent us a message, my dad doesn't let me go to space. When's the last time you got that message?
What?
Yeah, but understandable because there is certain risk to it. And especially the
Do you
recent
need training
submarine,
beforehand to go up?
there's a bit of training that you
Like G resistant or whatever.
because of the weightlessness, how you move, there are 10 other people in the plane. So you make sure you don't kick the other person in the face.
yeah.
So there's a bit of training, but it's not much. There's a bit of health checkup. But we saw the whole thing. It's just damn amazing. Yeah. So for me, if I could go, that would definitely be. And Virgin designs it in a good way because they involve your family as well. So they've built a spaceport in New Mexico, right? When you buy a pass, your family comes along with you. So
Wait, they go into space with you?
no. So they'll come along the journey with you. So you get to the training, they'll host the family, but the official launch day, they'll make the family line up, and you as a pilot, they'll film everything. You're like, it's a very emotional.
So you go up 2 hours, come down 2 hours.
Yeah, and then after you land, your family is already there, already lined up, waiting.
Oh my god.
So
Damn.
the experience design, because once you've achieved it, imagine you come back down and then it's empty, right?
That's a bit like not complete a bit.
You want to share it, right? So
Yeah.
this is where the experience design really comes in. You really, I mean, after you achieve something and then your family's there, you get to celebrate the rollout of it. That is why they
You guys are literally hacking human nature, you know.
it's just human psychology. If you understand, so my training is a lot of behavioral science.
Yeah. I don't know, are they gonna give you like a honorary degree or some shit?
No, it's really stuff. Consumer science, behavior science is already out there. It's just how do you leverage it for different reasons.
I think you just need to be a little bit more successful. I think you can be like Diplo, going around giving talks at Oxford. or
Right?
something.
Yeah.
Right. Because
See,
it's
that's-
an actual
yeah.
science, it's a like legit work. And I don't know, do you have any like customers like, hey, can you put me in a Mr. Beast video? Because I don't know if you
Yeah, I know Mr.
Mr. Beast literally is like the biggest YouTube creator in
Yeah,
the world, right?
yeah.
And his experience is like literally what you say, at the end of that challenge, right? Then they'll be like, oh, do you want this like ration that can last you 3 more days in this challenge, or you want to meet your family? That kind of
Yeah. I haven't had a client do that yet, but if there was, I bet we could make it happen.
Yeah.
But see, that's fun because so on a philosophical level, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this whole money part is cool, but it's really connecting the right clients with the things. Okay, the way I see it is connecting them with the world, right? Other people, but also themselves. After a while, I think with the money, you tend to lose it, right? Or you realize, what else can I do?
Yeah.
So if for me, I know most people say, wow, superficial money, but they're still people. If you can genuinely connect them again with things that are genuinely exciting to them, to me, I'm excited as well. Yeah.
On the flip side, right? Actually, I got something else before I lead to this. I literally just thought of this, but on the flip side, right? You know, there's this like trend where rich people cosplay as poor people to try to
Yeah,
figure out
yeah,
what
yeah.
you know how poor people are living, right? So do you have that kind of flip side request where like this super rich, super famous person, right, just wish to live life as a normal person for a month?
I have not, but I'll counter it. There's a movie in the 90s. It's called The Game. Have you seen it? So
I
it's
don't watch that game.
by, if you ever, it's on Netflix, I think. It's by, it's starring Michael Douglas, Sean Penn when they were super
Michael
young.
Douglas. Yeah.
But though I'll ruin the story for you. But what's exciting was, so Michael Douglas is this really successful investment banker, like he's seen everything, done everything.
Yep.
His brother was Sean Penn, wanted to give him a birthday present. And the
Oh.
birthday present was like he signed us up for this experience. I can't remember what the name of it was called. It was this experiential game company, right?
Okay.
And so to him, he was like, I've gotten everything. What else do I have to do? So he goes to this experience company and then he goes to bed. Next day he wakes up, he's like there's a car chase, people try to shoot him down. He's genuinely
Wait.
like
So he's like he's in the thing already.
he's in the thing. So but he doesn't know he's in it. It's just
Oh
he
shit.
just thinks all these things are happening. He meets a girl, brings him up to the thing, gunfight and everything. So he's just genuinely like heart pumping, like this is real, I'm gonna die, this and that, right?
Yeah.
And then it finally ends with his brother falls through this like off the building, so he's sad like, oh, I killed my brother and stuff like that. And they've actually let him down, and it's his birthday party.
What?
And I think the gift that the brother wanted to give was the gift of humanity again.
Whoa.
Right. So you see this whole journey as this like big, like I've got everything, Wall Street guy, big penthouse, everything. Suddenly, sort of because of all these experiences, like found value in human connection again, found this, found that, and stuff like that. So to me, obviously we don't take it that far, but that is it. That is when you see it, it's about
design.
how do you give someone that, right? So apparently this company just designs these different experiences
fucking
that
crazy,
yeah,
man.
and it's just fully immersive. But this is obviously a movie, right?
Yeah, because I'm thinking about like the consent, you know, like I give you a gift, but you need to like agree to it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's so many steps
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
are like missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that to me, I mean, okay, obviously it's unrealistic because it's a holy grail. I'm sure a lot of people could actually die. And stuff like
Yeah.
that. But that to me is something, because how do you give someone the gift of humanity or reconnecting with, if you're on the high horse, how do you sort of poverty and taking you down?
Grounded.
How do you bring you down? So that leads to your thing. It's like, if you are here, how do you come here again?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Very difficult,
Very
man.
difficult, yeah.
Actually harder than some might challenge, like harder than pushing the boundaries of craziness.
Sure. It's the reverse lah. I mean, it's
Reverse.
hard going up, but equally hard, like grounding yourself. Yeah.
But I think it would be quite interesting if there is a client that requests that. Maybe
Yeah.
like, hey, my son is spoiled. Can you like bring him through this experience?
So
How would you curate it though? I'm curious. Let him go through NS.
So what was it? I've been reading about these camps that rich families would send their kids, and by design, on purpose, it's supposed to put their kids through hardship.
Yep.
Because a lot of
How long?
not long, maybe like a week or 2
Huh?
weeks. Or
1 week?
whatever. But within that week, it's the same experience. It's designed to cut you down. Because a lot of these kids that come with poverty, silver spoon in the mouth, they reach, maybe not their parents' fault, but just because parents have everything, right?
Social circle, whatever.
Naturally, the kids become a certain way. But once the kids get too entitled, how do you then bring them down?
Yep.
So there was these, I think it was China, but camps that were designed to sort of, hey, you have to carry this backpack and hike like 10 miles or do something tough, right? And most kids are like, oh, I'm going to do it. But then they have drill instructors to make them do it.
Yeah.
So this is designed to like crack them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So I think with the right experience design, you can artificially introduce a lot of these things.
And you still can make it ethical and serve a good purpose, lah, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think you'll be opposed to creating something like that, right?
So we already create this in like events, experiences, right? Do you know that? Okay, so there's meaningful, memorable experiences.
Yeah.
It cannot be a memorable experience if there's without some form of discomfort. If, for example,
Or like the bashing through, then
or okay, if think about the events that you've had in the past, right? If everything was so smooth, even the best night, you tend to forget about it after a while. Right?
Correct.
There's a sense in experience design, if you artificially introduce discomfort is required. So if there's none, you have to artificially introduce it. Yeah, whether it's on a mental level, it's like what I believe in, then suddenly you have to go and like push someone. Example,
Oh,
it puts them in a state of discomfort. It doesn't have to be physical discomfort,
wow.
but those are the moments when you know how to design it. It makes it memorable. Meaning, 12 months from now, they will still remember this that happened.
Can you give like an example? Because it's like quite an abstract concept, right?
So okay, I'll take one step back. So in experience design, there's actually a pyramid.
Yes.
Okay. At the bottom level,
Is it like Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
it's similar to that. You go in a hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
So at the bottom, it's prosaic. Prosaic means like automatic, right? So things that are your community center type events, your HR training, they do it because they have to do it. It's very autopilot. It's just like it's just a box they have to check.
Read and sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Your sometimes friends' birthday parties, okay, get a cake, do this. It's just very like step 1, step 2, step 3, 4. Right?
Yeah.
Not going to remember everyone can do this.
Yeah.
The next level is memorable. Right?
First, prosaic.
Prosaic. Yeah. Next level is memorable. Okay. So memorable means I'll ask you, in the last 6 months, how many events have you gone through that you still remember this moment?
Wow, probably like 5 or less, yeah.
Right?
Honestly,
Right?
yeah. 5 or less.
And you definitely do a lot.
Yeah.
So even at memorable, a lot of your big events companies don't achieve that because to them, logistical and operations is their main key. Everything must run well, but they don't think of it being meaningful or memorable. Right? So memorable. The next level up is meaningful. Meaningful means it's like an aha moment, like genuinely you find like a genuine take back. Like, wow, my time, that 3 hours I could have spent everything, I'm glad I spent it here because it was genuinely meaningful to me. And a lot of that, the building blocks are you need a bit of personalization, right? Because what's meaningful to you may not be meaningful to me. So how do you then, in this event of like 30, 40, make it meaningful to you and meaningful to me? There's a method of doing this, breaking the groups up, right? So once you learn this, it's really a checkbox. Okay?
You kind of know the formula.
It is really the formula. So I'll tell you how we know the formula. The top of the pyramid is transformational. That is the holy grail.
Memorable, meaningful, transformational.
Yeah.
Okay.
So transformational is after I've gone through this experience, my life is better or because it's gone in a tangent because of whatever happened.
Right.
So is the holy grail, but it's harder to achieve. Right? And with transformational, there's certain elements of time where there's the pre-onboarding and post-onboarding. So meaning even before the customer gets on board, you have to prime their mental state.
Yep.
And then most people, after the aha moment, they'll say, oh yeah, my life is better. But typically, after a week, they revert back to normal. So you need a process that like follows up with them to guide them for lasting change. So like stuff like your Anthony Robbins.
Anthony Robbins, I'm not familiar.
There's a lot of these big motivational speakers will come.
Oh, is it the guy with the rough voice?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll make you walk on fire.
Yeah.
So the process is good.
Yeah.
Most people say they're changed, But after they leave, after a week, "Wow, okay, I'm super rah-rah. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. But after they leave, most people default back to what they're used
The
to.
baseline.
Baseline. So the right program would still follow up with them, make them feel comfortable, maybe set up example like a group chat.
Yeah.
Then you make each other feel responsible for each person.
That would be a little bit more memorable kind.
Yeah.
Not really
So
meaningful,
not everything
transformational.
is
Yeah.
needs
Like
to be
top tier,
transformational, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, sorry. Between prosaic and memorable, there's one more layer which is called mindful.
Mm-hmm.
So mindful means the flow of the event. We were at a luxury event. I'm not gonna mention names. Just a few days back, and it was on the second floor. Most people, including me, because they didn't put any signages, no one really knew how to get there, and the way the escalator worked was just very confusing.
Yep.
It could have been solved with certain signages to put certain things, and this is a luxury, high-end luxury,
Famous one.
right?
Mm.
So meaningful, mindful means even before the event, you sort of have a pre-visualization on the flow. Anytime there is a bottleneck or a jam, you know you have to fix it.
Yep.
And the best way to do it is just sit down and just have a clear visual path through the event. So something like a Taylor Swift concert, right?
Yep.
60,000 people. But if your door is same size to that, you know something's going to go wrong. 60,000, one door.
Cannot, man. Yeah.
Right? So you take into account all these different things, because why it's in a pyramid, because if the mindful part is not achieved and everyone feels annoyed that they have to wait in line, you will never be memorable.
Correct.
So each level has a checkbox.
Yeah.
Right? So working backwards, how did all this framework come about? There's a global organization called the World Experience Organization.
What?
Yeah, it's super interesting.
It's a Nobel Peace Prize for every department.
So
Yeah.
So basically, it's all these really smart, geeky guys.
Yeah.
Because of the internet, they found a place to come together. But these guys were the biggest experience designer, like Cirque du Soleil, the experience designers, the people who design Disney theme parks, right? Taylor Swift's experience design. A lot of it was these guys that found a place to suddenly have a free flow of ideas. So the Cirque du Soleil guy would be like, oh, I did this. And then the Disney guy would be like, oh, we did this. And then they found some commonalities. Eventually, with enough of these commonalities, it became a building block, like a checklist, right?
Yeah.
So to make things memorable, there's a certain step of things to do. Yeah.
With everything boils down to being a formula, right? I don't know, but I kind of feel like it is, in a sense, like a recipe for disaster when AI takes over, man.
Yeah, it is.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
yeah.
Because at the beginning, right? Now it's like what we are chatting for like maybe an hour or less, right? I was like convinced, right? Your job cannot be replaced by AI.
Sure.
And then now it's like, oh my god, you can actually boil it down to the formula. And what you say really makes sense, because I have a friend that's quite big as a DJ in Singapore, DJ Timo, right? He plays regularly at Tipsy Unicorn and all its other Tipsy outlets. Before this, he was studying design, and he blew my mind with this one fact, right? That every day, right, I look at my juicer, I'm like suspicious of it. Most of the time when you juice a fruit juice or something, right, the sound that it makes, right, it's not the blades cutting. It's actually an artificial sound that the machine create to bring satisfaction to you.
I never knew that.
I'm like, yeah, because when you squeeze orange juice or whatever, right, you know how it sounds like. But when a machine cuts it, right, it creates this very satisfying sound, right, that is actually artificially created by the machine to like and allow you to enjoy the juice better than without the sound.
That's true.
And I was like so mind blown, like like they knew how to hack human psychology almost. And eventually, when AI can do that, wow, I think they can like literally manipulate the human race,
I mean, even now, so I think with this World Experience Organization, a lot of it is because of the building blocks, depends on what you need the outcome to.
Yeah.
even on my level,
Yeah.
I already know how to do it. You can backward engineer certain things.
Wow.
Right? So I'll
That
give
is
you an
a
example.
Crazy Inception type.
There was one of the stories we heard. So Taylor Swift, right? It was Taylor Swift's sort of tour experience designers. So one of the challenges that they had was, so the fans at the front of the stage, easy to engage us. We see each other, you feel connected, right? What is the hardest? The one at the last, the nosebleed section, the very last seat, and there's 270 degrees essentially worth of those people, right?
Yeah.
She's so far away. How do you emotionally connect to that person?
Wow.
I mean, I'll throw you this challenge. If you're on stage, your fans, the person that's on the very last row, how would you do it?
I mean, personally, like on a some basic beach level, it's just like you put on big LED screen and I'm like, hey, the person at the back, then it's like the big LED screen talking to you.
But even then, you would focus on, let's say, a few, right, where the camera. But if you're 270 degrees, which is maybe let's say 1,000 people, how do you do that?
I think more than thousands are like tens of
Maybe, right?
thousands.
Yeah.
Wow, I cannot even imagine because like the idea of the omakase, the sushi, right?
Yeah.
It's like I hand you the sushi, right? It's so much more powerful than you buy a box sushi, right?
Yeah.
But wow, there's like people that's like 167 row down.
How do you connect with that person?
Even with a big screen, right? I also not quite confident,
And so, okay. So the question is, why would you even want to connect with these people, right? Because it's partly financial as well. If you empower these fans, they will eventually find a way to become your biggest fans. Maybe now
they
can't
feel like
afford
it's more worth it, right? I
Right.
pay 100 plus,
right? So now, okay, maybe they're the $100 seats.
Right.
But if they feel connected and they remain a Taylor Swift fan, they will make their way down to the 500 seats eventually. Right?
Yep.
So there is business thought in why you want to engage.
Damn.
Right? So how they
Fuck.
did it, when I heard it, I genuinely, there was this bit like, my
You also kinda mind blown.
heart fluttered a little bit. Right? So they had the LED wristbands, right?
Okay.
Which most people, it's controlled by RFID and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Which is
the
fairly
Taylor Swift one.
now common. But
When they first started, they were the first.
one of the
One-
things she paired with it, do you know why we have these wristbands? And then she says, because it allows me to see you. Whether you're here or right up there, I see you.
Wow, the
Immediately-
keywords, yeah.
270 degrees, people with like,
Wow, she
Right?
has like a PR team on top of a
Right?
PR team, man.
but think,
That is
if you think about the
crazy.
experience design, one bullet, simultaneous, everyone, wow, she saw me.
But how do they feel seen though, to be honest? Like, let's just say I'm a skeptic, right?
Yeah.
That I want to go see a Taylor Swift show just for the sake of it, right? And I'm like, damn far away, I got a wristband, like, okay, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, so that's why it's all sort of engineered, right? Oh, I have this. They explain the reason because then I see you. Then if you're there, what's the one thing? Because you're so far away, I just want Taylor Swift to see me or acknowledge me, right? So by her saying that, maybe not 100% of people, but a huge number is going to feel connected,
Oh, right.
And it's
Yeah, you don't care about the non-believers anyways.
Yeah.
You want the, they already like entry point already.
yeah. So it didn't cost money. It didn't cost they had to do more things and throw
But
more
what
money.
does it do though, the wristband thing?
Nothing. It's just so with the RFID, it changes colors. It can do like waves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's all it does. But it genuinely for a concert now, that's a new thing. The whole
So she basically included the people at the back row as part of the performance.
Sure.
So it's like people is like, wow, they can create like a spectacle. Then I'm like, oh my god, I'm like contributing to a Taylor Swift concert, something like that.
So part of that experience design is co-creation. So
Oh shit.
So like
It's
a DJ on stage, right?
basketball N1, man.
when you perform, it's a one-way street,
Yeah.
right? So the audience have no choice but to absorb the info to you, right?
Yeah.
But to make it memorable, you need to make it. There's a audience co-creation. How can they be a part of this creation? Because when they feel like they're involved, it's more meaningful and memorable.
God, yeah, this is exactly. Oh my god, you are giving me so many ideas for my next DJing thing,
Right?
because I remember back in the day, there's this basketball. I'm like super non-athletic, as you can really tell from my body size, right? But a lot of my friends are obsessed with basketball, and there's this like alternative basketball. I don't know, like people in the comment section comment slam me one. Maybe it's called N1 or something like that.
N1, yeah.
I think you definitely know it better than me, but
Does it still exist? I remember back in the day, I remember N1, but I'm not sure now.
I don't know. But like you can literally involve the audience, you know, like you want to do a trick and you can pass to the audience pass it back to you, and then you do a crazy slam dunk, you know. And that could potentially be something that we can elevate like a DJ performance. Like you're DJing, right? And suddenly the audience has a thumb drive, and then you start doing a co-production or co-performance with the person. And then it just adds to the whole entire experience. Yeah, similar to like how Taylor Swift does it.
So I think back in the day, I think it was Diddy. They did a live stream, right? This was easily 10 years back. I think when he was producing the next album, he would sort of get fan engagement. So, example, he would play, hey guys, should I do track A or beat A or beat B?
Before IG poll, he already did it.
Right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
So, different people could then vote and comment. But what that does is it makes you feel like, hey, I chose beat B for this final song. And if you're smart enough, obviously, 50% will always feel alienated, right? So if you make enough choices, eventually everyone has a say.
Yes.
When the album comes out, you feel connected to the album because I was part of that.
Part of one of the many processes.
Yeah. So that's how the emotional connection. So same thing in your set. How do you make people feel like they contribute, you know? Can they choose a beat? Can they do something? Yeah. Because if not, it just becomes a very passive. And the problem with that is people absorb, they have fun, but after that they forget.
Yeah. I think especially in the age of the musician, right, where we are so I've created this work, I've sacrificed like decades of my life to present this work, right? And then somebody downstairs will be like, hey, can you play some Lady Gaga or can you play some Titanium or whatever? Then you just like, what the fuck, you know? Yeah. But somehow you still need to like engage them so that it can be more beyond just the typical clubbing, to level it up in a way. Wow, this is like really next level in how like Taylor Swift and her team can kind of like integrate this without interfering with the set in a way. Yeah.
It enhances. I mean, same thing. I think there's many DJs here. Ultimately, is how do you then connect better?
Yeah.
I think it's not about the performance. Performance, everyone has a different style.
Yeah.
But then it's how do you connect better, make it more meaningful for the audience.
Yeah.
Right. And that is the part where if you do it consistently, then that becomes your brand experience. Then people will come back for just that. So like the Anima thing that we were talking about, he's created this whole world that people come into that world, right?
Yeah.
So instead of just performing yet another set, what else can be different than, wow, I have to come back for DJ Leonard stuff because it's you know? That's the element that you have to crack. Yeah.
Damn. Wow. I'm getting like so many ideas, man. Yeah. Wow, yeah. This is perfect, man. Yeah. Really, experience is everything because like, you know, everybody is like complaining that clubbing is dying, me included, right? But have we dived into the reason why is that so? Because, you know, I mean, as an experienced creator, a curator, right? You are like constantly leveling up your craft, right? But clubbing has remained the same for 50 years, 35 years, you know? And I think it's also partly because of the artist's ego or bias. Like, for example, before we started this podcast, we were talking about how TikTok and short form content has revolutionized everything, right? And here we still have musicians worrying about whether we should do some content that will make us look sell out, you know?
Sure.
Yeah. I think music is really in its own space, where if you see creators like Mr. Beast or video creators, right, they don't really how do you even call it, like, so purist in a sense. But when it comes to music, right, wow, you really have that purist tribe. So in order to, I think, level up clubbing and make people come back to the clubs, I think clubs and musicians as a whole, right, have to kind of like step up, like how the rest of entertainment is doing
and,
so.
or change
Yeah.
it up. I mean, there will always be. So let's say we talk about your 18-year-old coming into that.
Yep.
To that, the base level experience is
Yep.
going to be good enough for them because
Yeah.
they're brand new. They wouldn't know any better, right?
Yep.
But the ones that have been doing this for 10 years, 20 years, what do
How
you have
can
to
you wow
offer
them?
that person? Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the, this is my age kind of thing, right? During COVID, I've been hearing reports of club party experiences that was starting at, I think, 8 o'clock,
Yep.
but then it was shut off by midnight.
Mm.
So the older generation with work or with kids can go out, still party, but still be back at a responsible time. So it's not anything different, but you're just changing the experience to make it. Your 18-year-olds may not like this. It doesn't appeal because to them they're happy to stay all night, right?
Yeah.
But for the people like me, no matter what, my kids are gonna wake up 7, cannonball on me.
I want to party, but I got kids. How?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think through COVID there was a lot of, because of the restrictions, this was happening overseas.
Yep.
And a lot of the posts obviously on IG and stuff like that, I saw a lot of my local clubbing friends all mention this is such a fucking great idea, awesome, why hasn't anyone done it? So you get the feedback that, hey, not just me, there's a lot of other people that's also very interested in this experience.
Yep.
So I wonder why it hasn't come about in Singapore.
Yeah.
Right?
I think firstly maybe we scared people say us like, Singaporean thing, I do something out of the box, then people
But I mean, you're not catering for everyone. It's just
precisely.
This
I
generation.
think firstly you really need to be very confident in yourself
Sure.
to be able to pull it off.
Yeah. But it doesn't cost anymore. At most, maybe the DJ, maybe if you can do 2 cycles.
Yeah.
You can do the 7 to 12, and then the teenage, the younger 12 to 3, 4, 5 a.m.
Yep.
Right?
Actually, right, I have a very I don't know, curious or heart-burning question, right? Like for example, to consult you, right? I have a friend that owns a lot of underground clubs in Singapore. And basically he's very focused on the music and it's all about the music that will take you on a journey, that kind of thing. And then I was like talking to him about Singapore and nightlife, and he's like, yeah, everything is just going downhill. And then I'm like, do you guys like promote it on social media, on TikTok? And then it's like, but we can't do TikTok, we're underground. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're underground, right? You want to remain pure,
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give, right, for him to like kind of like focus on his undergroundness, right? Not lose the essence while reaching to a broader audience to pack every single night. How would you like go about it?
So, if it's underground, you definitely don't.
He cannot do TikTok.
The whole point of mass media is not it.
Yeah, lor.
So how do you embrace virality or word of mouth referrals?
Yeah.
So the people that are there are your diehard fans, right?
Right.
Similar to what we do with banks, because ultimately marketing, the best marketing is this person will leave and say, wow, this is a damn good experience, you have to come.
Yeah. Tell my
It's
friends about it.
cheaper and it grows much faster.
Yeah.
So how do you then inject this word of mouth referral or design an experience so that these people will tell other people?
Damn.
Right? Then you can keep it cool, you can keep it, your guests, your audience will curate better because they won't just invite other people. Like, hey, this guy won't like this, but this friend, I know he'll like it. Then you tell. Then you build more of the same community by growing, but you have to design something that would allow people to shout it out.
Right. So
Right.
that means like you might not be able to use TikTok because you're trying to really go for that underground thing, but then you can kind of create a spectacle without you yourself telling people about it, but other people will shout for you.
Yeah. So, example, now
Damn.
what's very big about this Instagrammable moments in like clubs or
Is it like photo op or something?
photo ops, but you make it cool, and then when they tag up it, somehow your brand name gets tagged onto it.
Yep.
Then when they share it, other people are like, hey, where is that? This is damn cool, right?
Yeah.
Then they'll start asking, to go into that.
Yeah,
So that is when you design that virality, you can artificially get people to push it up for you, or you
Damn.
compensate them or incentivize them of some sorts.
Yeah,
Like if you do this, hey, if you show your friends post, you get in at whatever $5 cheaper or something like that. You know, so there are ways to doing this. Keep it still tight, but then the person benefits because wow, okay, if I screenshot my friend and I say, hey, this is how I found it, then maybe they get the first drink free or something. At least there's an incentive for them to. So we always think about most experience design is around three things.
Yep.
Acquisition means new client
Clients.
acquisition. Engagement, your existing client, how do you engage them in a better way?
Yep.
And then the third one is how do you introduce word of mouth referrals?
Yep.
Yeah. So most, all said and done, all clients can talk all these different things, but
Yep.
ultimately all arrows point towards these three things.
Yep.
So different clients would value different things. Yeah.
Another scary thing about let's just say throwing your own events, right, is like you don't know the turnout most of the time lah. I follow Iqbal on LinkedIn from It's the Ship, right? And he's like a regular preacher on like how you should have analytics when it comes to events, and you know, events partners should start working together. But in reality, it's so difficult. Like any successful YouTube channel like MrBeast, right? They rely so much on the analytics to make their next video better than the next video. Like in so many MrBeast podcasts, right? He says that thanks to the analytics, right, every video literally is doing better than the next video.
Sure.
But events can't be that way because you really in the real world there's so many noise or whatever, you know, data misalignment or whatever. You can't really like track everything lah. In a way, how do you like kind of make sure that the next event has a higher chance of hitting without having analytics? Or maybe you all have a special way, a secret way to track analytics, maybe?
So, okay, I'm not very good at that because before Amber, everything has been always B2B. We sell it to private banks, so we've only had to worry about that one-off.
They bring the customer.
Bring client. We're very good at filling that room. So for Virgin, for the first time in my career, there's normally an attrition rate, right? So there's the no shows, right? So industry, let's say 15 to 20%.
Yep.
Our events have been usually about 5 to 10. It's already better. But for Virgin Galactic, we had 0%. Means every person invited, everyone showed up.
I mean, you pay 60,000, right?
No. But this was even before they paid, getting these potential buyers. And these were all billionaires that had every reason, oh, I can't make it because blah, blah, blah. I think the experience design, the invitation process, because we engaged them during the invitation process to make them feel like they were part of the co-creation.
Yeah.
So even if they had many other options, they felt like, wow, I contributed so much, I'll just go to this one, right? So for the first time, we actually hit 0%, so everyone showed up.
Damn.
So that itself was already quite an achievement. But in terms of a B2C party where we had to sell out, I'm also very new at that. So our first one, which is the new experience, we've created something that was quite unique. We call it the up-close experience, right? For the first time, we are getting people to put together in a more intimate space.
The up-close Neo.
For the first three, when we launched on Saturday, by Sunday, we were almost close to 50% sold out already.
Damn.
Yep. Yeah. But from now, we still have the rest. So
But clearly your target demographic is not on Instagram, right? You have more like email-based kind of stuff, right?
Not even email list. I think where we succeed is a lot of the close relationships like WhatsApp with buyers.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
So instead of WhatsApp like automated blast, a lot of it's like, hey Leonard, we got this special thing. Hey, cool. We've got 20 people that we can put in a private room and meet and greet and hang out with Neo. Which one are you interested in?
Wow.
So I think even we're also reinventing that process instead of systematic mass email blast.
Yeah. More dedicated. Then they feel like more sincere a bit.
Yeah. But maybe the difference is our clientele is slightly smaller and we can manage that. if you're like a big club with a large database to message 1,000 people, I'm not sure if you can, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure at some point we'll run into that issue, but for now, still kept like this Neo thing. We're limited to 200 spaces anyway, right? So above and 200, I think for us, we're not willing to compromise. We're keeping it small by design.
Another challenge I see, right, is that let's just say a billionaire is like, hey, Kevin, can you arrange like an experience for me and my team or my family, right? I want to meet like, I don't know, like fucking Lil Nas X or some whatever, like, or Snoop Dogg or whatever. But then Snoop Dogg really don't feel like meeting this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you like convey that? Like because like billionaire want to meet famous people,
Yeah.
they confirm know of each other in certain cases, right? And how do you like manage like, hey, Snoop Dogg actually don't like this guy, you know?
So thankfully, we've never had that before, but usually, so most of the celebs have already a lot of money, so they don't respond to more money. Oh, just because I pay you 100,000 more to like
No difference.
Ronaldo, I make this in my sleep. I don't need that, right?
Yeah.
So our entry point is we try to find out what matters to them.
Oh.
So if you have a charity or a cause you support, so let's say, hey, we're willing to donate 100,000 to this cause, but would you be able to take 5 minutes to meet the donor?
Wow.
So most of them were like, hey, if it's going to a good cause, what's 5 minutes of my time, right?
But you can't explicitly ask them what matters most to you, right?
No, so you have to do the homework.
Wow.
And all this would be a simple Google search will find out already. You would know what matters to them, what they support. Yeah. And if not, some people are just like, oh, I love the latest watch. Some people are just materialistic, and some people cause.
I mean, for do you believe in 4 love languages?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. My wife has been telling me about this on my kids, and totally, my kids are very, very different. Some are like relationships, some are like things and gifts. Yeah.
Are you time spent?
Yeah. I'm definitely. I actually have never thought about it or diagnosed myself yet. Yeah. What are you?
Okay. I am service.
Okay.
Like when I really love someone, right, I will like fucking give them my kidney or something, you know, like really like
Okay. Yeah.
do some stuff for them, lah. Yeah. Time spent in second. Yeah. So that's why like when somebody give me a gift, right, I feel like it's very like low effort, like you know,
Yeah.
you try to like pass me off that kind. Yeah.
And that's what's happening as well. So in the experience world, we start getting a lot of requests for like birthdays, anniversaries, because like kids buying parents something or husbands and wife, right? If everything, what buy you another Patek Philippe watch or the rare thing or new car, after a while, ownership of things become quite old.
Yep.
Especially if when you're new and upcoming, it's still exciting, but after a while, it's just like, oh, yet another car, yet another watch.
Yep.
What else, right?
Yep.
Experiences become, because experience you'll never end. It's pretty much infinite. I can design multiple experiences until you die. It's still be something new. You know? Yeah. So that becomes the realm. If you know, let's say your dad's a golfer.
Yep.
We can design the best golfing experience. Doesn't mean the standard thing. Wow, golfers, you play around with the top golfer, something.
Wow, Tiger Woods give you a 10 minutes tutorial. What the fuck?
So much stuff that you can do. So I think that's where it's exciting, because the canvas is totally open.
Yeah.
So the way you treat it is not just, it's like an artist, right?
Yeah.
What is the goal? Then you just paint. Depending on what the budget is, you can just design as crazy as you want. Yeah.
Damn.
And then when you see the genuine happiness at the end, that to me is totally worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. Yeah. And I don't even know how you're gonna like take this company to the next level. Do you have any ideas like where is this heading? Are you gonna like integrate AI in some way?
Eventually, I think for now, because of the Amber expansion, my goal is to develop this globally. So we have several markets. So Monaco, we have buyers in Abu Dhabi, Miami, Texas. Those become our home base first. We've already have clientele there. So to me is, if I can genuinely give this group of clientele some additional value that they could never have access before, that is our first goal. And that already is quite a monumental step. But after that, then we can think of expanding. Because we already have willing buyers in all these different countries that we do the Amber Lounge parties. Our sales team has very good relationships with them. So to them, that becomes our first priority, right? So all these safety car, all these F1 driving experiences, additional viewing parties, all that is our core. Yeah. So from there, we just move out from the core slowly. Yeah.
And right now you are like, I don't even know what phase do you call this. Are you like in partnership with Amber Lounge, or they buy half your company, or what's the relationship now like?
Yeah. So Amber bought over a significant portion of my company.
So that means you own the minority share.
So now I'm a minority share. So we talked about the IPO process.
Yeah.
Pat's a genius at this IPO process.
Yeah.
So for me, why you would give up is because you have a bigger upside in play, right?
Yeah.
So with Pat in place, there's definitely a bigger upside.
Bigger
in
than
play.
how you can do it by yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, I could study, I can learn, try to meet the people, or if this was such a great opportunity that came about, let's see how we can take it to the next level. Yeah. So I think that's why I said this phase is exciting to me, because for the first time, all the stars align. I've got a great partner. Great. The Amber brand is super big. So for us is how can we take this to the next level together?
This Luminaire thing is not just yourself, right? You have like co-founders.
Previously I had co-founders. But then when we started a company, so before we went mass market, before we were solely focused on higher end tier, right?
Right.
But when we were trying to expand, investors actually convinced us to go to the mass market. Because for your VIP market, how many Victoria's Secret things backstage can you sell?
Yeah.
Right? Your meet and greet with Beyonce.
You need a mix,
right?
Yeah.
So it became a ceiling and you couldn't expand. The margins were very great, but you could only sell 2, you know?
The experience just keep recycling really.
But the things that people want are like the Grammys, the Met Gala, the Oscars.
Yeah.
Right now we're doing like Heidi Klum's Halloween party. We got Floyd Mayweather's birthday party in January. So, but a lot of these are fairly finite.
Yeah.
So by going to the mass market, Starbucks coffee tasting, example, right? It's some experience. It may not be very much, it may be $15, but something that's fun for people.
Yeah.
That had a lot more scalability, because that one you could sell to 1 million people. Right?
Yeah.
And then this is just one brand. You can create non-stop music festivals. So you became this whole marketplace now.
Yeah.
So I think this was almost 7 years ago. We launched a concept called Live More. And because of that, the agency was shelved for a while and we focused on Live More. So when COVID essentially killed Live More, it was doing well for a while. We expanded to the US and stuff like that.
Wow.
But COVID shut everything down.
Yep.
Because everything we do was very experiential, right? And experiential means it's in person.
Yeah.
So what's the one thing COVID killed? The in person.
Yeah. Lor.
So ever since that died, a lot of my partners moved out as well. So only this year.
Are you the only Singaporean?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
I had another partner in the US where we did quite a bit of stuff there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, because of the faults and failings of version 1, this time round we're doing it a bit smarter. So I think the benefit of failing before and redoing it now, I think everything is meant to be, right? Yeah. I think without there, we would just make a lot of those mistakes now. But because we made that, I think now we can just roll out a lot faster as well.
In business, it's like that. Like you need to roll with the punches. You know? Yeah. Really, business, I honestly think business is the way to go, but sadly, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I was just like actually speaking to a property agent, and then they are like, I am like 60 years old now, but I used to work for this big MNC company, and then I see so many people get retrenched, and then they are retrenching older executives, and then they are bringing in younger blood. The younger blood might not be able to do everything that the old executives do, but they come at 3x the lower price.
Sure.
Then it's more worth it, right? Okay, you might not be able to do everything this old guy can do, right? But I can in time teach you, right? And still save a lot of money.
Actually, now with AI, the younger guys...
You might not even need to learn it.
Yeah. So I think the older generation is definitely facing a lot of uphill
Attrition,
battles.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as a older person, right, I'm always in conversation. I think I'm very fortunate in a sense where I started out as a very underground turntablism kind of DJ, very much like Cold Flow.
Sure.
And I think also very similar to Cold Flow and very similar to Zushan, another DJ, right? Where we are
I know
constantly
Zushan as well. He was there at High House.
he's high house music manager, he's literally our boss. But we are literally sandwiched in the middle of the underground and the mainstream.
Sure.
And we are also sandwiched in between the old school people and the new school people. We constantly have conversations with them, right? And we realize both sides the struggle. And as we slowly age towards the old school, right, what are some measures that you personally are taking to kind of future proof yourself? Because like, wow, I'm starting to feel fear. When I was younger, not too recently, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'm indestructible, man. I can do like anything. I'm not scared to be replaced. But now it's like, oh shit, the fear of getting replaced is very, very near.
So I saw this interview with Elon Musk. I can't remember who was interviewing him. But he said something that I think absolutely resonated with me. So AI is accessible by everybody,
And it's inevitable,
right? But the ones that will find success are the ones that would leverage these AI tools to create value. And that to me was my guiding path, because it's very hard to be replaceable if you create value and you are genuinely useful to some people or someone or something, right?
Yes.
So AI just sort of like, put everything on light speed for me to create value, because once you create that, you can't be it's very hard to replace you.
And honestly, right, AI actually has a learning curve.
But
like people
learning
think
curve is going to be much easier. It's just from that, value could mean is how do you, with your music, make the clubs more packed? How do you make people feel more emotional? What everyone cries when you hear your music, whatever, right?
Yeah, that's actually a good point, All the Armin van Buren, his front row always got people cry. I was like, how the heck he did it, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is some form of value, because there is some commercial value to that, right? And that is something that if you create it's very hard, unless you review your formula, it's very hard for someone to replace you. Yeah. So like this Taylor Swift story, right?
That is true.
That value that was created, that emotional connection, some other person you will know that okay, now I know how to do that trick. But then this person will think of the next thing and the next thing. So if you're always one step ahead, you will never you'll never lose your value. You will always be valuable to someone else.
Yes.
Or even to yourself, any business you do. Yeah.
If you're constantly one step ahead. Yeah. Correct. It's like how Anima is like literally revolutionizing a genre of DJing, and then now everybody's copying him, and then I'm so excited to see what he's gonna do next to one up his competitors that are just like carbon copy of him.
I read the Sphere. I think he sold out 5 shows in a row.
I actually tried to buy the Sphere.
Yeah.
Because I work in an airlines company, so I got some unlimited worldwide free flights. So I'm like, I actually can go to Vegas now for free. Okay, let's go fucking book Anima. Wow, sold out, within like 6 hours or something.
That I would definitely go for that. That was so even the Sphere, that is a new experience, right?
But now he level up. He start to sell normal day shows also, but in collaboration with big artists. So he has like a Charlotte DeWitt collaboration night. And then
where? On
so same Sphere.
Okay.
He's like literally Sphere resident now.
Okay.
Yeah, all his shows are just Sphere, and then he just bring big acts, right? And then he do visuals for them to make them as spectacular as himself.
Okay.
Yeah, recently he did visuals for the weekend's live show.
It makes sense, because
value add,
as an artist, you can only have so much energy, right? After a while, you just burn out. But then if you start doing this for everyone, then your revenue and the value expands.
Yeah, correct.
Then you can even go to management in the future. Hey, now I sign all these different artists. Only these artists I will, do the visuals for them.
Impart to them my secrets, formula, or whatever.
Or you become the visual artist, then they just play So they need you, right?
Maybe you don't even need to be a visual artist. You like consultant. They do the visuals because they know your formula already.
Sure.
Then you vet.
Sure.
Like you're like DJ Khaled.
Yeah. See? So that is that one step closer to that value. Once you create that value, all these guys will want to work with you. You drive commercial value. Obviously, you make the sphere money. You make everyone money. Yeah. Very hard to replace people like that.
Does that bring us to the next point of scaling the business? Like for example, I'm Anima, right? Clearly, I don't know about the process, but I know Anima and MREC, right, is the other older guy.
Sure.
Both of them form Tale of Us, and they have this record label called Afterlife, lah. But they are very music focused, and they have a team of people that creates the visuals, and maybe they also have some input, lah. But they are primarily musicians, lah. But you can't really scale this, right? So in a way, they have to figure out how they can eventually scale it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the companies and tech that I have my eye on
Yep.
is this thing called COSM, COSM, and it started off in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
So they built either half sphere or full sphere, right?
Like visual.
So this is just a technology company, right? So what they then did was they then built either fan seating or VIP tables.
Okay.
They would then put a special camera at all your NFL, NBA, your Liverpool,
Major
Manchester.
Major sporting event.
Obviously, we can sell packages to go to a menu match in the UK.
Yep.
But not many people can travel.
Yep.
Or are free to just travel as and when, right? But what if you can bring that experience to them?
Oh.
So this COSM
simulation
is a live feed because it's your vision is about 160. This one is about slightly more about 270. So it fills your view. So as a guest, I'm seeing this whole thing. I feel like I'm watching the menu match.
Damn.
Yeah.
Even your peripherals are being satisfied. Like you feel like you are there.
Yeah. So with this thing, with Anima, you can then pre-record it and have satellite. So not everyone can go to the sphere, right?
Yeah.
But if I deploy a sphere-like thing, which I don't think is that expensive, we're trying to figure out how much it costs. I don't think it's that expensive. You can then have satellites all around the world.
Yeah.
So the main sphere just has to record the content. You can then feed everywhere in the world.
Damn.
Right? So we're talking about
And
scalability.
collect royalties.
And just collect royalties, or you sell the program or clips or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm very interested in that in the VIP experiences. Because if people can't travel, can we then bring VIP experiences to them? So you're still watching a menu match now with the table with alcohol and stuff like that, and you deliver it within the city.
My God, this brings me to the Matrix. Yeah. When are you start plugging in people already?
Yeah, COSM, because and Google is one of the things I'm excited about. Yeah.
Oh my God, because like this is like immersive, and then people obviously naturally will crave more, and then people want to start feeling things. Yeah.
But we're nearing that, right? All the AR, VR. There was a recent experiential exhibition called the Bubbles exhibition. Did you go for it?
No way.
Everything was like the theme was bubbles, so everything was all like balls and stuff like that. So the rest of the installation was very immersive, was awesome.
Yeah.
But they had a full VR experience.
Okay.
So they make you sit in one of those hanging chairs. It's from the it's mounted to the ceiling, and then when you sit, you can just swivel 360. So this VR experience, it plugs your ears and your eyes, it will just rotate you round, and it's the trippiest of like visuals. But because you sit on this chair and your feet are up, you just free spin, and wherever you spin, you see that. One of the best usage of VRs I've ever seen. Yeah.
It's really like 100% immersive. It like kind of plays with like the balancing spectrum in your ear with the motion of
the chair. And because it's a bit of that weightlessness, you're free floating, and everywhere you see, you rotate, Plus, they introduce motion to it as well.
Wow.
So as you're not static, just looking from a single point. It moves through a path. So you're just like totally disoriented. But because the visuals were so good, you're disoriented in a very good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This brings me to another point where Elon Musk is saying that as humans, right, as we speak, like I'm thinking something and I'm conveying the information to you, right? And then you hear it and then you interpret it in your own way. So there are loss in energy.
Yeah.
So like whatever I think and I want to tell it to you, right?
Sure.
But maybe you understand or you relate to me maybe 60% only. But in future when in the dawn of robotics and AI, we can literally like, I'm thinking this, copy paste.
Yeah.
And then you know exactly to the nuance what I'm thinking about, right? Then it brings me to this, free-flowing chair, trippy visuals thing, right? Will people be eventually one day so plugged in that no normal day experience will satisfy them anymore?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the Matrix, right? So remember how there was a scene where you want to learn like karate, you just plug in something, right? What was that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? He did
Is it Predator, Aliens, or what?
no. They did virtual travel. He would go into this.
Wow, I don't know, yeah.
You could take these virtual travels. You sit down and then it plugs into it, and then you would take these. You would be fully immersive. You would feel like you were in this.
So you're not actually traveling, but you feel like you're traveling.
It's supposed to feel like you are, but I think I can't remember the exact story, but they somehow were embedded into the game. So like if you get killed within that game, your actual avatar. But then people started finding very difficult on what is real and what is not.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think same thing, experience design. As things changes, technology just becomes a tool, right? So like example, if you were plugged in, one day I can deliver a geisha experience for you. Then next day, I'll put you into a Manchester United match. Next day, I'll put you to a UFC match.
Yeah.
So there's so many different realms of experience. It's just with technology, maybe it's more exciting because then I'll put you into space. Yeah. So it can go as far and wide. Yeah. So in the future with this Neuralink thing, maybe it's just a plug in a car or just like connect it to your phone, plug it in, and then you're like,
everything is just stringed down to an SD card.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, like what you say, like it is a tool. It can be used for extreme good or extreme bad. It's really based on the user, the human. At the end of the day, I truly believe, right, that humans won't create AI to replace themselves. Because at the end of the day, humans, I feel at the end of the day, we work so hard, we want to seek a happy and a fulfilling life, right? We really want to take the fuss out of our lives. And then, like, for example, the AI can automate all the very troublesome, like I don't know, like washing your laundry kind of stuff. And then we want to lead the best life for ourselves. So I don't think we will create AI to a point where it like just renders us redundant and then end up, there's no point in living.
Sorry, I remember reading this quote recently. It was like, I don't want AI to do my art for me. I want my AI to do the laundry so that I can do the art. Which is true, right? But now a lot of your AI is like, mid-journey development and stuff like that. Yeah. Which is true. So I think if you can... So now, what did Elon Musk the Optimus robots, have you seen that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Hey, I'm very afraid of it, My girlfriend is so excited.
Hey, my wife is super excited too.
Yeah.
It's like,
why?
She was like, 30,000 US? Okay, doable, right? So yeah.
Oh my God, like, it's like replacing another... But can you imagine like this guy is just like standing by there to service you, right? Then it's like so odd.
But same thing, right? It's the same...
You need to get used to it.
Maybe the first year is super awkward. After a while, like you realize, I can't live without this. Everything I say,
you are right.
Got it, yeah.
I remember 17 years old, right, when Motorola first came out with camera phones. I take the phone and then I want to try the selfie. Like, shit, got people look at me, And then I was like, dude, I'm like Insta storying everybody.
Right?
Yeah, actually, you might be right, man.
I think after a while, it's just the same thing. People get desensitized because they're so used to certain things. And then that becomes the new normal, like COVID, right?
Yeah.
So once every household has one of these robots, that's the new normal.
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh, you don't have one, and then that becomes the